Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur, and you are watching the JMOR Tech Talk Show. It's great to be with you guys here for another amazing episode. And this is Unleashing Innovation, the latest tech insights on the JMOR Tech Talk Show. And more specifically, what it's about, in case you guys are wondering. I titled this show Tech Unleashed, Bold Innovations, Hidden Risks, and Game-Changing Updates, Series 3, Show 39. So thanks so much for being here with me, whether you're live or whether you're a little bit later. I appreciate you being here. And do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my great, inspiring creations to empower you and those you care about so much. All right, so are you ready to dive into the hottest tech news? Sure you are. From an experimental deep sea exploration to the latest in AI, social media regulations, and mobile updates, we're going to unpack it all on this show for you tonight. So definitely stay tuned. So first thing I want to talk about is experimental subs in the spotlight. Yes. So experts are warning that deep sea experimental vehicles like the Titan sub shouldn't be used, citing major safety concerns in ongoing investigations. And it's funny because, you know, this stuff doesn't really reach the news until either people get hurt or there's some type of a lawsuit. Unfortunately, guys, that's usually what happens. All right, so now that we're thinking about this and what's going on, I think the most important thing to realize is that there is a lot of problems with the experimental subs. And so again, people are just rushing things through to the production line so they can make money, and that's a very bad thing. Second topic I want to talk about tonight is LinkedIn. Yes, LinkedIn, which is actually owned by Microsoft. I'm not sure if you guys know that. It's kind of a hidden thing. Unless you go in like 7 million screens, you'll find that they're the owners of it. LinkedIn pauses AI data training. LinkedIn halts the usage of UK user data for AI training amidst privacy concerns, allowing users to opt out like in the European Union. So I think they're just getting afraid of, you know, what could happen or what's going on. And that's a big problem. And so what you're probably thinking is, gee, that's a big issue. And so the big issue is that now you know, like, what's going on, you know, why things are happening, but maybe you don't know exactly like what's happening. Maybe, right? Maybe you don't exactly know, what's really happening. So I think that's a very, important thing to think about when we think about that whole concept of, you know, where things are going, why things are going a certain way, and how does this have like an impact on my life? I mean, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that are probably going to come to mind for a lot of people, a lot of people. And so, you know, when we think about this, it's important, guys. It's very important because understanding how big companies are using our data is serious business. Yeah, it's a challenge, and you know, it aggravates a lot of people. The data is getting misused, right? Misused data. And welcome to our Instagram friends. I know sometimes they join us a little late. So welcome, friends, if you're just joining us on the Instagram feed. Sometimes they connect to us a little bit later. The show's topic for tonight. This is the JMOR Tech Talk Show, Tech Innovations, Hidden Risks, and Game-Changing Updates, Series 3, Show 39. All right, so thinking about all this, right? Thinking about how LinkedIn pauses the AI data training, the question you might be really asking is, what is the real reason that Microsoft, LinkedIn pauses AI training? Well, LinkedIn is quietly training AI on your data. I don't know if you guys know that. So Microsoft's own LinkedIn recently began training AI models on your data without your express consent. Days later, LinkedIn stopped scraping UK users after regulators, yes, they sound the alarm. This just happened just a few days ago. So LinkedIn has now stopped scraping UK user data, but it's still scraping US user data by default. So the UK's International Commissioner's Office revealed that LinkedIn pulled the plug on sourcing AI training data from the country's LinkedIn users after the regulator raised legal concerns. Now, this is what they said. We are pleased, quote, that LinkedIn has reflected on the concerns we raised about its approach to training generative AI models with informative relating to its UK users. We welcome LinkedIn's confirmation that it has suspended such model training pending further engagement with the ICO, quote, Stephen Almond, ICO Executive Director of Regulatory Risks. Quote, in order to get the most out of generative AI and opportunities it brings, it's crucial that the public can trust that their privacy rights will be respected from the outset. Almond continued, we will continue to monitor major developers of generative AI, including Microsoft and LinkedIn, to review safeguards they have put in place and ensure the information rights of the UK users are protected. What about the US users, right? We never seem to protect the US people. So I think Facebook is in a big trouble with this too, but I'm sure we'll hear more about them soon. And ladies and gentlemen, if you know who Skyglass is, yes, do you know who Skyglass is? Yes, Skyglass. It's actually Skyglass Streaming is the name of their thing, and they're called Sky. Okay, it's the 4K smart TV from Sky, and so it has immersive 360 Dolby Atmos sound and crystal clear pictures quality and its ultimate viewing experience. So there's a lot of really cool things with it, and of course they have the streaming services to go with it. So understanding this, they had a little issue. Skyglass Outage had lots of frustrations on users, and widespread complaints from Skyglass TV users about the outage leaves them unable to turn on their TV since a while. And so the question is, what did Sky do, when there was this outage? And so the Sky outage is something that affected a lot of users. Okay. Sky internet not down, current problems. And so, they don't want to lose customers, but they had a big outage. They were talking about more than 70,000 people log reports with Down Detector. 70,000 people. Now, that's not how many people were down. That's how many people logged reports. So that's a very, very big problem. And you might be asking, so who owns Sky, the Sky streaming services? Because they always go under these funny names, and then you never can figure out who the heck they are and who owns them and stuff like that. But who owns Sky? So it's Sky, which is very interesting. Is a British media and telecommunications conglomerate, which is a subsidiary of the American conglomerate Comcast. Yeah. It's headquartered in Isleworth. It has operations in the United Kingdom, Ireland, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and Italy. Sky is Europe's largest media company and pay TV broadcaster by revenue at 23 million subscribers and more than 31,000 employees. And this was as of 2019. What you may not know is that Comcast purchased Sky, and the $30 billion purchase of the European pay TV platform was purchased by Comcast. And so lots of things are changing with this. And so, what did it mean when, Sky TV went out, and many were complaining about this? I'm sure that's, something that's not common for them, but they complained about their TV not being able to turn on. And, that's a big, big problem. Sky customers had so many complaints. One ex-user posted, quote, "Sky Glass off since the morning. No lights, no power, not even a flashing dot." Anyone having the same issue? Another wrote, "Nearly 24 hours with no Sky Glass service. Tried resetting the procedure 3 times. Now what?" Third person said, "Anyone still having issues with Sky Glass? Been without a TV for almost 24 hours." Yeah. So the question is, what caused Sky to have such a big outage? And I think that's really the question everyone wants to know. I think we're not going to know the whole truth about it. But the thing about this is that it was a big problem. And it was a major blow to Sky's TV broadcast based both Sky Glass and Sky Stream service. And they experienced widespread outages. And this started around the 19th of 2024, September 19th. So Sky Glass users were hit pretty hard by this unexpected blackout. But what caused it? Reports indicate that affected TVs can't even be powered on, with many users, including probably your own if you're in that area, noting that their Sky Glass doesn't display so much as even a power light. Yeah. So the question is, what happened? There were hundreds of frustrated users. And so it's crazy that this happened and there was no resolution. But it still doesn't tell us why did Sky Glass go down. There were some speculations about what could have happened, but they don't really tell us exactly. And so I think when a company can't be up and running for like 6 days, that's a serious problem. And people are paying good money to watch TV and streaming services. And people are really upset about this. And they just didn't seem to have a clue of how to fix it. So we don't really have an answer. Like, what caused Sky TV to go down? And maybe it's not very clear. They just say sorry. On September 20th, they said sorry as UK homes suffer serious TV glitches. I mean, that's just sorry. There was one user that I was reading about. He was so frustrated. And he put on social media, quote unquote, "My Sky Glass has now been off for the past part of 11 hours. Are you able to provide an update on the fix? We pay a lot of money each month for the use of your services and understand at times faults happen, but 11 hours so far with no end in sight is not good." They just responded, quote, "We are sorry that some Sky Glass and Stream customers are currently experiencing issues when trying to switch on their devices." This is just a generic Sky person's quote. "If you're having difficulties, then you are urged to follow some simple advice. This is aimed at resetting and rebooting the device in the hope that this clears the bug," which it won't. "It basically requires you to switch off the Sky gadget at the main, then press and hold the standby button while turning the power back on and wait to see if it actually works, but it won't. Let the Skyglass TV complete the recovery process, which can take up to 50 minutes, depending on your broadcast speed. So it's unclear, they said, what caused the glitch, but some are speculating that it might be an issue with an update that's been released to the devices. One of the advantages of SkyStream and Skyglass is that they are powered by broadband, which makes it easier for Sky to push out new features and release software patches. Hopefully the bug, they said, would be fixed soon, and they did resolve it, but it's crazy that they were down for so very long. And again, people are paying a lot of money. A lot of these people, they don't really care how long you're down for. I mean, they just try to appease you. It's like they have a script that they read. And I always tell the people when I'm talking to whoever it is, wherever I'm like, please don't read a script. I know you're reading a script. Please don't appease me. You're just going to annoy me more. And here's an interesting one, ladies and gentlemen. You may or may not like this, but new AI cameras are aimed at road safety. So the new AI tech in Somerset detects drivers texting or speeding, aiming to reduce road accidents following a rise in serious crashes. So that's a little bit scary because now we have cameras that are literally able to detect if someone's on the phone or detect if someone's seatbelt's not fastened. And they say the reason they're doing this is to cut the level and amount of deaths. So, again, they have these cameras that they're starting to roll out. And authorities are starting to jump on board with this. The new AI cameras on the A361 near from Somerset was in a bid to reduce road deaths. Now, this is actually in Europe, not in New Jersey. So the Avon and Somerset police have already taken positioning unmarked cars and using speed detection equipment on the A361 since the start of 2023. There have been 22 serious or fatal accidents along the route, and officials aim to improve public confidence in road safety measures. The parents of two sisters were killed in a high-speed crash on the A361 last year, and they had been criticized of the lack of attention given. So they believe better speed controls could have prevented the deaths of the Madison and Liberty North, aged 21 and 17, who died in July 2022. Local authorities, led by the MP, Anna Sabine, are also planning further safety measures. And these include improving road signage, enhancing visibility, and urging drivers to adopt safe behaviors navigating these fast A roads. So the question is, with them doing this, is this a violation of your privacy? So they're even putting out temporary trucks right now until they get them permanently installed. They're putting out temporary trucks so they can see if somebody's using their cell phone, texting, whether they're wearing a seatbelt. And so what footage has deemed to contain evidence of an offense seen by humans to make a final determination is how it works. So it makes a recommendation that there's a problem and that a human has to intervene. And this is all by the TFGM, the Transportation for Greater Manchester. So again, I understand where they're trying to go with it, and I think it's a good idea. But the question I have is, how is the data being used? Is it going to be stored in a safe manner, or are we going to have issues whereby there could be another data breach? Just curious. Let me know your thoughts about that. So Starlink satellites block universe view. So Elon Musk Starlink satellites interfere with radio astronomy, limiting scientists' ability to study space phenomena. That's wacky, right? That they're able to now not be able to study, all because of Elon Musk's satellite. I mean, it sounds kind of crazy that we can have this much interference. And again, the thing is, you wouldn't suspect this. So radio waves from Elon Musk's growing network, as I said, are blocking scientists' ability to peer or peek into the universe, according to the researchers in the Netherlands. And the new generation of Starlink satellites, which provide fast internet around the world, are interfering more with radio telescopes than earlier versions. And the thousands of orbiting satellites are blinding radio telescopes and may be hindering astronomical research. Again, according to the Netherlands Institute for Radio Astronomy, that's Astron, and SpaceX, which owns Starlink, has not replied to a request from many media channels. So satellites provide broadband internet around the world, often to remote places, including challenging environments like Ukraine and Yemen. They are also used to connect remote areas of the UK to fast internet. And in 2022, tests showed that Starlink could deliver internet speeds 4 times faster than the average, according to the Department for Digital Culture, Media, and Sport. But astronomers say this comes at a cost. Quote, every time more of these are launched with these kinds of emission levels, we see less and less of the sky. Professor Jessica Dempsey, director of Astron. So, quote, we're trying to look at things like the jets, which are emitted from the black holes in the center of the galaxies. We also look at some of the earliest galaxies, millions and millions of light years away, as well as exoplanets. And she said, highlighting the areas the satellite radiation is affecting, again, by Professor Jessica Dempsey. Interference with the second generation, or V2 satellites, was found by Astron to be 32 times stronger than the first generation. So the amount of radiation emitted exceeds regulations set by the industry body, by the International Telecommunications Union, which is also important. And one estimate suggests that there are 6,000, ready, ladies and gentlemen, 6,402 Starlink satellites currently in orbit at around 3,142 miles, that's 550 kilometers per hour, above Earth, making it the largest provider by far. The satellites are relatively large, with 3mm flat panels and 8mm solar array for power. And SpaceX's main competitor, OneWeb, has fewer than 1,000. But it is a growing business area, and Amazon is developing its own network and hopes to launch at least 3,000 in the next few years. Yeah, Amazon's always got to get their paws in something. They're never happy with what they got. They've always got to just go into everybody else's sandbox. By 2030, the number of satellites in orbit is expected to surpass 100,000. That's absolutely, that's insane. That is insane. But we see that it's having a big global impact on our environment. And Boeing's strike, furloughs, started recently, where they're getting rid of thousands of Boeing workers as the company faces massive production delays due to ongoing strikes. Wow. You know, this is crazy. When they try to fight for, good working conditions and better pay, it's a really, really, really big problem. And we're starting to see this not just from small companies, but large companies as well. And so Boeing's CEO had said recently that the company will begin furloughing a large number of employees to conserve cash during the strike by union machinists that began the last week of that. So the chief executive, Kelly Ortberg, said the people who would be required to take time off without pay starting in a couple days, including executives, managers, and other employees based in the United States. Quote, while this is a tough decision that impacts everybody, it is an effort to preserve our long-term future and help us navigate through this very difficult time. Ortberg said in a company-wide press release to the staff, the statement, and Boeing didn't say how many people will face rolling furloughs, but the number is expected to run into the 10 of thousands. The aerospace giant had 171,000 employees at the start of the year. About 33,000 Boeing factory workers in the Pacific Northwest began a strike recently after rejecting a proposal to raise pay by 25% over 4 years. They want raises of at least 40%, the return of a traditional pension plan, and other improvements in the contract offered, and they voted them down. So the strike is halting production of several airplane models, including the Boeing's best-selling plane, the 737 MAX. The company gets more than half of the purchase price when new planes are delivered to buyers. So the strike will quickly hurt Boeing's cash flow. Yeah. Ortberg also said selected employees will be furloughed for 1 week and every 4 weeks while retaining their benefits. The CEO and other senior executives will take pay cuts during the duration of the strike, he said, without stating how deep the cuts will be. So all work related to safety, quality, customer support, and certification of new planes will continue during the furloughs, including production of the 787 Dreamliner jets, which are built by non-union workers in South Carolina. Ortberg also said in a memo to employees that the company is talking to International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers about a new contract agreement that could be ratified. However, with production paused across many key platforms in the Pacific Northwest, their business faces substantial challenges, and it's important that they said they take the right steps to preserve cash and ensure that Boeing is able to successfully recover. So what they're not realizing, what these people are doing, is that they're affecting people like United and all these other airlines that have ordered planes, but they cannot get them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about social media a lot, and we can never talk about it too much. Instagram's teen safety push is on the rise now. That's right. Instagram enhances its platform for teen safety by making millions of accounts private and reducing access to sensitive content. You know, all these companies, they're scared because they're afraid of the fact that they could get sued. And so this is why they're doing this. It's not because they really care. Let's not think they really care, because I got to be honest with you, they don't care. It's about money. That's all it's about. It is about money. And the question I have with all this, with them forcing millions of teens into protected accounts, I mean, it's a big problem. Changing how Instagram lets teens use its platform came nearly 3 years after the explosive Facebook papers that drew massive attention to the risks the platform poses to young users. And new restrictions are also designed to push teens to adopt parental supervision through the app. Instagram will automatically apply the new teen account settings to all users under the age of 18. After the update, 16 and 17-year-olds will be able to manually change the app back to their preferred settings. But 13 to 15-year-olds will be required to obtain parental approval for any such changes. The new teen account setting is built on more than 30 well-being and parental oversight tools. Parent company Meta had rolled out in recent years, such as take a break, nudges, restrictions on age inappropriate content like posts about eating disorders. Despite those earlier updates, the company has continued to face criticism for placing too much responsibility for safety in the hands of parents, and in some cases, teens themselves. So I think it is the parents' responsibility. And I think the big thing we can see right now, we know Facebook's been having a disaster whereby they've been blocking their own staff from using the platform. I mean, and what would happen is they don't lock you out in a sense that you can't use the platform. They lock you out that you have to go through an annoying few steps. You have to click here, send an email to get a code, get back in, and sometimes change your password. And then they ask you to confirm all your activity. I mean, that's just nuts. Their AI tool has been crazy. I think it's getting better. I can't swear to it, but I think it's a big problem that everybody's just rolling AI out like crazy. Like they don't even realize the consequences that it's having. It's like for every 10 things it does, we have to fix 100, right? And so I agree that teen safety is important, but I think it needs to start with the parents. And I think it should be the parents' jobs to select what tools they want to employ. But it doesn't give parents an excuse to not watch the activity of their kids. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? And you might say, well, how can they do that? Well, they've got to put computers in public areas, especially when they're younger, so they know what's happening, what they're watching, what they're doing. Because a lot of people take their computer to the room, and there's nothing wrong with that if they're an older person, but if they're a younger person, they're doing that, that could be a serious problem. They might be being shown things or taught things that are against things that will protect them. So that's a really big problem. And ladies and gentlemen, politicians are targeting social media addiction. New York passes laws to curb social media addiction, but experts are questioning whether this will be effective. Yeah, I have the same concerns because the thing is, my big question is how. That's probably the biggest thing I want to say is how. And they're just saying they want to make it less addictive. My question is how. New York passed a law recently on addictive social media feeds for children, but some researchers are questioning what that actually means. The New York Governor, Kathy Hochul, was clear about her opinion of social media recently, speaking at a press conference to announce the signing of 2 new state laws designed to protect under 18-year-olds from the dangers of the online world. The apps are responsible for transforming happy-go-lucky kids into teenagers who are depressed and, let's say, could be doing things that would not be good in society and might even take their own lives or others. She said, according to Hochul, the legislation signed off on would help. Today, we save our children. Young people across the nation are facing mental health crises fueled by addictive social media feeds. You know what social media is? Like when somebody doesn't get a like or somebody's gonna, it like really, it really brings them down. Like they feel worthless. And social media should be used to bring you up. It shouldn't be something that's gonna like harm your life or cause your life to be bad, right? So the Stop Addictive Feeds Exploitation Safe for Kids Act requires social media platforms and app stores to seek parental consent before children under 18 use apps with addictive feeds. A groundbreaking attempt to regulate algorithmic recommendations, and the SAFE Act will even prevent apps from sending notifications to child or teenager users between midnight and 6 a.m., practically a legal bedtime for devices, and require better age verification to avoid children slipping through undetected. I remember when I was younger, there was a game. It was an adult game. And I remember that in order to play this game, you had to know certain answers to certain questions. So you usually had to answer like 3 or 4 questions. And the program would not run unless you answered these. So we're always like asking, so like I'd ask an older person, like, so what was this, or what happened in this year, or what happened then? And it was things before we were born, right? So if that happened and we couldn't answer it, couldn't get into the game, so quickly made friends with other people that were born basically that are actually older than me, and would ask like, "Are you playing that stupid game again?" No. Well, what was her name when she was in this movie? You're playing that game again, aren't you? And it did prevent a lot of people from getting in the game. But the challenge was it made it more addictive because we wanted to get in the game because we were so let's say obsessed with answering those questions just to get in. Whether we played the game or not, it was just getting past that point. So I think that's a problem. Also, there was another game out there. I'm just going to mention the game. It was King's Quest 7. And King's Quest 7 was a very addictive game, non-adult game or anything like that. And that game basically didn't have any real, let's say, child-safe settings. But it was very addictive. They even had a 900 number you could call for support, and they would give you tips depending on where you were and what part of the game. So it was very, very addictive, and you could just not put it down. So that's the thing I think New York and many other states are trying to stop, and because it hurts people's well-being. It absolutely does. And Brazil's Supreme Court challenges X, Elon Musk's X, formerly we all know, known as Twitter. It faces legal issues in Brazil over non-compliance with hate speech and moderation orders. So they are now starting to comply with that, because if they don't, they're going to have to get out of the country. And X sees this as a very big opportunity for them to gain market share and get a lot of users. And ladies and gentlemen, Meta faces a lawsuit over Kenya layoffs. This one's crazy. Kenya moderators with the right now to sue Meta for poor working conditions and claims of union busting. Yeah, so apparently Meta had hired these people with very bad working conditions where they were, and also paying them not much. And now in Kenya, it has been ruled that these people can actually sue Meta and Facebook. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you guys know this, but I did get my brand new iPhone 16 Pro Max just last week. And now that I've had a full week to go through the phone, I'm going to give you some of my input. But first, the iPhone 16 was unveiled in Russia. Despite export bans, Russian retailers are selling the iPhone through parallel imports, skirting the international sanctions. And Nokia wins Amazon's patent dispute. Nokia wins the major case in Germany where Amazon was found to have used patented video technology illegally in streaming devices. So congratulations to Nokia because they were fighting on that for a long time. And Apple's security delay feature, this is really cool, ladies and gentlemen. So starting with iOS version 17.3, now you're probably at 17.7 or 18.0, but Apple's iOS 17.3 introduces something called the security delay. What the heck is a security delay? So it adds extra protections when users are altering sensitive settings in unfamiliar locations, such as trying to wipe your phone, turn Find My iPhone off or on. Let's say trying to turn on stolen protection. So when I had my phone, I was transferring all my data and I was just ready to wipe my phone. I went into stolen device protection, turned that off, but I couldn't turn off stolen device protection until I turned off Find My iPhone. When I went to turn off Find My iPhone, I clicked it and it said to me basically security delay because I was in Naples, Florida, and that wasn't where I normally live every day. So it thought I might be a bad actor. So I had a scan with my face. The phone detected it was me. Once it did that, it was able to then start the timer. Then in 59 minutes later, so long as I didn't reboot the phone, I would have to scan my face again, and then I'd be able to turn off the Find My iPhone, and then I could turn off the stolen protection feature. So it's just something to prevent people from, let's say exploiting the phone, deleting the data, or anything like that. So in order to delete the data, you have to turn off stolen protection. In order to turn off stolen protection, you have to turn off Find My iPhone. So the reason they did this is some people, when they sent their phones back, they would send them back and they'd have Find My iPhone turned on. And their phone would be wiped, but because it was still turned on, companies like Verizon, AT&T would charge them when they're supposed to have a credit on a trade-in because they just, thought that it was a security risk. So now they force you to do that, and you can't erase the phone without going through those steps. So I think that is really, really a cool thing. And before we end tonight's show, I wanted to go through some of the features just touch on them briefly, because there's a lot of features on iOS 18 that were unveiled. There are different writing tools that are rolled out, such as the proofread, checks your spelling and grammar, looking for spelling issues, with the rewrite option, which will work even more with the Apple Intelligence system. Name suggest, it sums up what you're writing and then offers a quick response to correct something, a smart reply, like in the Mail app. iPhone can detect the content of emails and suggest relevant smart replies, so you respond quickly. What I like is there's a neat feature in the, if you actually launch your, let's say you go to your notepad. Well, your notepad has become smart now. Let's just say I put 10 plus 5 equals and hit enter. It will give me 15. So it's added the ability to do smart operations like math, which I think is really cool right in a notepad. So that's a really cool feature. So we have something called the Image Playground. It's a new app that lets you generate images based on your ideas, and you can generate images with a prompt, similar to ChatGPT and Apple, and it also has a list of suggested concepts. So that's a really cool thing. Then you've got the Genmoji. Okay, Genmoji are similar to emojis, and they are designed to behave like emojis. With Genmoji, you can essentially generate any emoji you want, so you're no longer limited to the standard set. That's another cool little feature. So you have Siri and Search. So with Apple Intelligence, Siri and Search is a lot smarter. and intuitive and is able to respond to requests. Siri has better language understanding and can keep up even if you stumble over your words or change your mind. So it has better contextual awareness. It has Chat GPT integration. So Apple is partnering with OpenAI to integrate Chat GPT into the iPhone, iPad, and the Mac. And Siri can refer complex requests to Chat GPT, such as generating images or writing from scratch. With the writing tools, Chat GPT can create and illustrate original content from scratch, which is above and beyond what Siri is already able to do. Summarization and prioritization. As we said, Apple Intelligence is starting to grow, and in October, that full feature will be released, including both what you've written and what other people have written. So you can select text and get a summary, but Apple has also built this functionality into notifications and messages. So I think that is a really, really cool feature that it's able to do that for us, because we couldn't do that before. You have the AI app. Messages, like I said, for Genmoji, Image Playground. You have mail, writing tools, priority messages, summaries, and smart replies. You have photos, cleanup tool. You have enhanced natural languages and memory movies. You have the notes, writing tools. You have an image one. You have recording, transcribing, and summarizing of audio recordings. You even have recording, transcribing, and summarizing phone calls. Priority notification and reduce interruptions for focus mode, which they've improved, which is really good, like they have on the Microsoft Windows 11, to keep you focused on something for a certain period of time. You also have the privacy feature. So most Apple Intelligent features are completed on device to preserve user privacy. Siri gathers data from your iPhone to answer your requests rather than relying on Apple servers. But there are instances where the compute power of the cloud is required. Apple's using private cloud compute for this, and with Apple servers equipped with Apple Silicon chips for privacy protection through the secure world enclave that we are in. So Apple Intelligence requirements are pretty cool. Apple Intelligence is available to developers and public beta testers in an iOS 18.1 or greater. So like I said to you, that is rolling out in October. We have some changes with the home screen. Apps and widgets can be placed anywhere on the iPhone's hidden grid in iOS 18. So you can have a home screen and app pages with just a handful of apps and widgets with as much spacing as you want. You can hide app names on your iPhone screen if you want to hide them so people can't see what they're called. You can just basically tap the edit button on the top left corner, choose customize, tap the large option in the customize panel, and tap an empty space to hide the customization panel. You can very easily customize the icons very, very easily and do a lot of great things. Like I said, getting rid of the names is a really cool thing. So with the labels removed, the design of your app icons takes center stage. So that's a neat little feature that they have added. I think it's a pretty cool feature if you ask me. You can make your home iPhone screen icons dark. You have a brand new control center, and it now features rearrangeable tiles and support for multiple pages. And when you take your phone and you swipe all the way down from the far left corner, you get another enhanced menu. So I think there's a lot of cool things that are definitely on there. You have different grids, as I was mentioning to you. You have different grids. The control center, like I said, was redone. So when you swipe all the way down, you can very easily get to a lot of your common things, but you can also use the main screen, which has the translate function on it. You can have the stopwatch. You can customize that. So they've really done a lot of cool things. You have the action button, which we talked about before. Most times people use that for basically being in the silent mode or the vibe mode, we call it, or so like they basically like find the phone not making any noises. So iOS 18 has also a new lock screen. So they made design changes on how the lock screen works, how you can rearrange the icons. You can increase the icon size. You could change the widget size. So again, you can do the dark mode icons. You can tint the icons. You can hide and lock the apps. I love this. If you tap it, if you hold an icon, you tap and hold it, there's an option there that says require Face ID. If you want to remove it, you can actually remove that. So that's really cool. The app won't start unless you actually have your face being shown to the phone. So that's a real cool thing. So they have some new app features like they have messages. You can schedule an iMessage to be sent at a later date. With Apple permitting text to be scheduled up to 14 days in advance. So those are some cool things. Maybe you don't want to text somebody late at night, right? The photo system has kind of been overhauled as well with updated designs and some smart logic to show you things that are used most often and just making it easy to find things very quick and easily. Safari automatically detects relevant information on a web page and highlights it for you to browse. So again, just making things a little easy for you. You have the passwords new feature. So Apple moved the password section in the settings app to a dedicated passwords app on the iOS 18. So it's easier to get all your passwords and logins that you've stored. The password app holds your passwords and logins for apps and websites, one-time access codes for two-factor authentication, Wi-Fi passwords, and passkeys. So very easy to get the information which you were not able to get before. You have the AirPods Pro update, which we talked about before, for the FDA approving hearing aid compatible with the AirPods Pro 2. We have something called reduce motion sickness. There's a new vehicle motion cue option that's meant to prevent motion sickness when looking at an iPhone or an iPad when a moving vehicle as a passenger. So motion sickness is caused by sensory conflict between what a person sees and what they feel, which is an issue in a moving vehicle. So motion vehicle cues use visual elements on display that indicate real-time changes in motion. Basically, animated dots at the edge of the screen represent changes in vehicle motion. So that's pretty cool. There's also eye tracking now, allows users to navigate through iPhone or iPad interfaces with only their eyes. The feature uses AI and front-facing camera to determine where a user is looking, and it can be used to activate buttons, swipes, and other gestures. So I think that is, I think that's really, really cool, if you ask me. I mean, really, really cool. So these are just some things that you can do, but there's still a lot more, ladies and gentlemen. I'll go through a few more. I mean, there's so much stuff on this. You have the NFC, opened up the NFC chip to developers. Now the NFC chip is back. They took that off, but now that is back again. You have a new game mode. You have accessibility. So, for example, if you got the NFC and it lets you doing something, it can tell you there's extra parking. It can have an option pop up. You can use things like accessibility options. Okay, these are pretty cool things. I like, then they also have music haptics. So music haptics is enabled the iPhone. Taptic engine plays taps, textures, and refined vibrations that correspond to audio of the music. The feature works across millions of songs in the Apple Music catalog, and developers can implement it into their apps. So that's cool. We also have vocal shortcuts. iPhone and iPad users can assign custom utterances such that Siri is able to launch shortcuts and understand complex tasks. So there is a lot that was put in there. You have some compatibility features now that are new. So the iPhone 18 runs on all iPhones that are iOS. They're able to run iOS 17, which includes the iPhone XR, XS, SE2, and newer phones. So again, they've really tried to make this a pretty good device. And then you have the iOS. Last thing I want to talk about is the iOS 18 timeline. So the timeline, what they tried to do, what Apple tried to do, is they tried to explain like how things happen. So like September 16th, third-party apps updated with iOS 18 features. September 33rd, how to lock a hide iPhone. So they tried to make things a little bit easier for people so they could understand them. So I think that is really, really cool. I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as I have. I am John. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege and pleasure to be with you here on the JMOR Tech Talk Show. I'll catch you guys next week, which will be October 4th. This is the last Friday in the month. And definitely check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And I'll catch you either on another JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life show, or another one of my other videos or content pieces that I put out. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your night and weekend, and I'll catch you on another show. Take care, everyone.